Russia is pressing the UN to accept an expansion of its boundary claim to territories in the Arctic. A group of experts from various agencies and research institutions has been created to present and defend the claim. Russia resubmitted a bid last February to expand its borders on the Arctic continental shelf. As the polar ice continues to shrink, it's opening up possibilities for new exploration for resources. Russia, along with the US, Canada, Norway and Denmark, are all trying to assert jurisdiction over this area. It could take the UN Commission up to 5 years to review Russia's claim. Yola Abdafith looks at how oil is attracting fierce competition.
It's among the most unlivable regions on Earth, but countries want a part of the Arctic. That's because the region has an estimated 90 billion barrels of oil and 1.7 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Russia has already started drilling from its Prizrazlomnaya platform and is now staking a claim on the seabed beyond the more than 300-kilometre zone along the entire Russian polar sector near the North Pole. In May, Norway granted 10 new licenses to explore for oil under the Arctic Ocean. It's Western Europe's largest oil and gas producer and is keen to protect its national interest. Denmark's claim is via its Greenland territory, and like its European neighbours and Canada, it has launched bids to extend its claim beyond the territory that's been allocated. In North America, Canada and the United States also have disputes on land, but mostly around territorial waters. They see parts of the Arctic as their national waters. A number of state and privately owned oil and gas companies have invested billions of dollars to investigate how much reserves could be reached. And apart from the US, all these countries have stepped up their military activities, while Russia has started to rebuild some Cold War-era naval bases and airstrips. Rise, sea, rise! After the Obama administration allowed some drilling in Alaska, there have been several protests against drilling in the Arctic wilderness. Many are concerned about the damage this would cause the environment and an increase in carbon emissions. The low price of oil has stopped some companies like Shell from exploring in the Arctic. But as climate change opens up more of the icy waters around the North Pole each year, it could become easier later this century to drill for both gas and oil.
Well, for more on this story, we can speak to Lars Kullerud, who joins us from Arendal, Norway. He is the president of the University of the Arctic. Welcome to Money Talks. How valid a claim does Russia actually have, and how is this going to affect the other countries who are also staking a claim?
Well, Russia having a claim, Norway has its claim already handled by the UN Commission. Denmark has put forward its claim, and Canada part of its claim. I think all countries, according to UN law, has equal rights to access their access to the Arctic seabed. It only controls that rule controls the seabed and access to oil and gas and minerals and other resources on the seabed. When we think about what is the value of the Arctic Ocean and resources there, maybe in the future it is access to clean water, clean air, and fish and other resources that might be just as important as the oil and gas, which everybody think of as of today.
I'll come back to the environmental question in just a minute, but we understand that there's been a military increase within the Arctic. How worrying is that, and how is that going to affect shipping routes?
The climate change we see is extremely dramatic in the Arctic. The Arctic ocean sea ice is diminishing, and we see melting of permafrost on land and the melting of the inland ice in Greenland. So the rest of the world will face the consequences of this as the ocean is getting higher up, and you get swamped in ocean water elsewhere in the Earth. For the Arctic, this is a challenge for people living there, for practically doing the daily life when soil is melting, when it used to be frozen, etc. The same way it is for the animals and the species there. But we also have to remember that people in the north, there's the people anywhere else in the world, has the right to explore their resources and share it with the rest of the world. And we cannot deny some part of the world its right to do so. The critical element is that it's done in a sensible manner, so that one take care of the resources and the peoples and opportunities for the future generations.
Okay, Lars Kullerud, good to speak to you here on Money Talks. Thank you.